آل سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا عليه صلى الله عليه وسلم. نستكمل الكلام عن أبواب الصيام. Continue talking about fasting. أسأل الله أن يبلغنا رمضان. May Allah عز وجل extend our life all to witness رمضان إن شاء الله. لا فرق دين ولا ملك دين. اللهم آمين يا رب العالمين. طيب أو أن يسلمنا رمضان ويسلم رمضان لنا ويتقبله ويتسلمه منا متقبلا. آمين. We talked about the definition of fasting and some virtues of fasting, فضائل. ثم نتكلم very quickly. Last time we concluded by talking about القدرة على الصوم حسا وشرعا, being capable of fasting both physically and shar'i. If somebody is not incapable of fasting either physically or in for a shar'i reason, then they should not fast. Examples for these: القدرة الشرعية أو العجز الشرعي الحسي, الشيخ الكبير, somebody who is very old, المريض, somebody who is sick. Both of these, they are physically incapable of fasting. فلا يجب عليهم الصيام. It's not obligatory on them to fast. There's another option. We'll talk about these later. العجز الشرعي, maybe somebody is physically capable but they cannot fast, or it's not obligatory on them. لا يجب عليهم الصوم. One, a woman during the period, الحائض, والنفساء, during the nifas, during the after-birth bleeding, she cannot fast. Maybe she is physically capable of fasting, but shar'i, Allah said they cannot fast. Allah excused them, but they have to make up for that later. Somebody who's pregnant or breastfeeding, those also, if they choose to, it's not obligatory on them. Somebody who is traveling, even though they are physically capable of fasting, but it's not obligatory on them. It's their choice. اختيار. رخصة. Today, inshallah, tonight we talk about أركان الصيام, the pillars of fasting. There are how many pillars of fasting? What are the things that we do in fasting? The essential things that we should do in fasting? Only two things. One is niyyah, intention. Two, al-imsak, abstaining. We talked about abstaining. So niyyah wa imsak. Our imsak biniyyah, abstaining from all the things to break fasting with the right intention. Tonight, inshallah, we'll talk about the first pillar, and niyyah. When we talk about niyyah in siyam, النية, generally نية هي قصد الشيء مقترنا بفعله, is to intend something in the beginning of its action. That's what it is. نية for salah. When do we do نية for salah? If I do نية at home, I'm coming from home to pray Isha, but is that enough to get to salah without saying intention in the beginning of salah? No. You have to announce the intention, have the intention right at the beginning of salah. مقترنا بفعله. As you're getting to the action, Allahu Akbar, and in your heart and mind, you mean to pray this salah at this time. So this is the niyyah. So usually niyyah should be before the action, right as you get to the action. When we come to talk about fasting, when do we do the niyyah? The beginning of action is when? When is the beginning of the action of fasting?
The day before.
The action of fasting begins, Fajr. Once the Fajr, or the beginning of the month, yes, you see the moon, but the beginning of every day fasting is Fajr, dawn, not sunrise, dawn. طيب, do we apply the same ruling? The niyyah should be there, should be done there? No. There's an exception for niyyah then. The exception of this niyyah, unlike niyyatul hajj, should be done right at the beginning. As you say, labbaik Allahumma hajja, labbaik Allahumma umrah, you say it at the beginning. Allahu Akbar, nawaitu usalli, in your heart. You make the intention to pray. Usually niyyah comes at the beginning of the action. Fasting is a little bit of an exception for that. It comes before the action. موضع niyyah, or the timing of the niyyah. When should we make the niyyah? The night before. The night in Islam begins when? Maghrib, not Isha. From the sunset, this is the night. So any time from Maghrib all the way to the end of the night is when? Fajr. Anytime you make niyyah for Ramadan at this time, it's acceptable. What if I wake up and I didn't make niyyah? And making the niyyah, talking about making niyyah. When you make niyyah, you don't have to say anything. If you say it for some fuqaha, it's okay. Sometimes they pass these things, nawaitu siyama ghadin min Ramadan, kada kada, I intend to fast tomorrow. It's okay to say it. But if you say it without having it in your heart, it doesn't work. It has to be in the heart. That's the main thing. So what would work and constitute a niyyah? What would be sufficient as a niyyah? If it crosses your heart and mind at any point that I'm fasting tomorrow, niyyah. If you set up the alarm that inshallah I'm waking up for suhoor, whether you wake up or not, niyyah. If you think that I'm fasting tomorrow, niyyah, but you have to make intention how often? For Imam Shafi'i and most of the scholars, every night. Every night. You should do it during the night. Imam Malik said one niyyah in the beginning of the month should be enough, but actually the Shafi'iyya, they say this is wrong. Because he qasad al-siyam ala al-salat wal-hajj. He made a qiyas. Sheikh Unais was talking yesterday about qiyas and the logical deduction. One action is similar to the other, so they should be the same. And then we derive the hukm because of a illa mushtaraka, because of a common cause that we have in there. So he said this is like salah. One niyyah in the beginning of salah. You don't make niyyah for every rak'ah, for every part. For hajj, one niyyah in the beginning, labbaik Allahumma hajj. You don't have to announce the niyyah of hajj when you go make tawaf, when you make sa'i. But actually the Imam Shafi'i and others, they said there is a difference. The main difference is الصيام كل يوم عبادة مستقلة بحيث إذا فسدت لا ينتقل الفساد. Every single day in fasting is a unit by itself, in such a way that if you break your fasting for whatever reason one day, does this break the whole Ramadan? Or just this day?
Just the day.
Just this day. So it means that each single day is a unit by itself. But for Hajj, if you don't do Arafah, only Arafah is invalid, or the whole Hajj is invalid? The whole Hajj. So the whole Hajj is one unit. The whole Salah is one unit. If you lose your wudu at the fourth rak'ah, but I already prayed 3, you have to redo the whole thing. But if you miss one day for whatever reason, that does not make fasad or make the whole month corrupt or not valid. So that's why we have to make an intention for every night. There's another little difference between Imam Shafi'i and Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa said, even for a fard, it's okay to make the intention after Fajr. And he has his own analogy for this, but actually we have a hadith, clear hadith from Hafsa, مَنْ لَمْ يُجْمِعْ النِّيَّةَ قَبْلَ الْفَجْرِ فَلَا صِيَامَ لَهُ. It's also narrated from Aisha and Ibn Umar and others, مَنْ لَمْ يُبَيِّتِ النِّيَّةَ قَبْلَ الْفَجْرِ فَلَا صِيَامَ لَهُ. The one who does not intend before Fajr to make siyam next day, there's no siyam for that person. So we should make sure that we say or announce or have the intention anytime during the night. And it doesn't matter if you eat or drink or have a relation with your wife afterwards, that's okay. Just having an intention at any part of the night, it's fine. Waking up or getting into the day while, let's say, the person is in the state of janaba. Somebody has the intimacy with his wife during the night, didn't get showered during night, and then you wake up and it's after Fajr really. So the siyam begins, but you are in the state of janaba. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. You can take the shower later on. And they talk about some little details, what they are, if they are still in the process of intimacy and the Fajr come on them, what should they do? That's there, because this is human, it may happen. Husband and wife, and instead of praying qiyam all night long, they are enjoying themselves until matla' al-fajr, until fajr. What should they do? They should stop right away. They should stop right there, and they should be fine, take the shower, and go ahead. So, but back to the intention should be done any part during the night, from Maghrib until. The exception for this, because of a dalil, is siyam al-nafl. If somebody is fasting extra nafl sawm, you may do the intention after Fajr. Why? Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as narrated by Aisha and others, he would wake up sometimes, هل لديكم من طعام أو هل عندكم من do you have food? No, said I'm fasting, فإني صائم. So he announced the niyyah, as long as you do not eat or drink, you can announce the niyyah. That applies only for nafl. For the extra sawm, it does not apply for siyam Ramadan. Common question, what if I wake up and I eat or drink or something and then I figure out it was after Fajr? There is a rule, يعني قواعد فقهية لا عبرة بالظن البين الخطأ والشك بالظن البين الخطأ. If you have an assumption and then you came up later on to have the yaqeen that he was wrong. You were wrong. It was wrong. What you thought, then that's it. It was khata. It was a mistake. You should make up for that day. But if you were not sure, the difference is I ate during the night and then I slept again and then I woke up and it was like 5:30. I wasn't sure did I eat at night or not. In this case, we apply another rule. العبرة بقاء ما كان على ما كان أو استصحاب الأصل يعني. It's night. So it's night until we have a yaqeen. It's definitely night. It was night. Unless we have another certainty that the day begins, we should keep making it hope that it was night. Unless we know it's unlike the first case. The first case was what? That I'm sure now that I ate after Fajr. You ate after Fajr. You have to continue imsak for that day, fasting that day, but you have to make up for that day as well. That's, I think, everything about niyyah for fasting. Do we have any questions about the niyyah?
Can you make niyyah for the whole month, the night when Ramadan starts?
Imam Malik would say yes. Imam Malik would say, okay, and I explained this in the beginning. It should be sufficient, and Imam Malik, Imam Matbu', but if to be safe, make niyyah for every night. It's not a rocket science. It doesn't take, actually every Muslim or all Muslims do it. You know, if somebody is just practicing Ramadan as we practice, everybody is intending without saying it. You are intending, you are putting niyyah for tomorrow. When you wake up for suhoor, when you sit up, when you tell your wife, make sure you wake me up. Let's wake up, we wake up at 3. That's niyyah. All of this is niyyah. So say, be safe and follow the hadith of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. مَنْ لَمْ يُجْمِعَ النِّيَّةَ قَبْلَ الْفَجْرِ. The one who does not intend before Fajr to make niyyah, لَا صِيَامَ لَهُ. There is no siyam.
Does bleeding from nose or from injury or throwing up invalidate?
We're gonna talk inshallah next time about the mufattirat, the breakers of fasting, and we come to all of this. Okay. If you just wait for one more week. Dr. Riyad.
If you wake up for suhoor and internally you intend to fast, that's considered niyyah?
Yes, waking up, even if you didn't wake up, but you just set the alarm. Why are you setting the alarm? You set the alarm usually for Fajr or for 6 a.m. or something. But in Ramadan, you set the alarm before you sleep for 4 o'clock or 4:30. Why? Because you want to wake up. That's niyyah. Niyyah ya'aqdul qalb. Niyyah is just to have it in your heart. You don't have to wait and say, we come and say Allahu Akbar. Actually, some imams said you have to say nawaitu usalli al-dhuhra 4 rak'at to confirm what's in your heart. They said it's recommended. It's not obligatory. But what's in the heart of every Muslim is, I'm praying Dhuhr right now. That's me. So it's simple and easy, inshallah. Yes, Mr. Muslim.
If somebody is excused, let's say a sick person or traveler or a woman in menstrual cycle, so let's say if they miss 3 or 4 days, so they have to make up only those days later on?
Yes. If you miss, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. The same number of days that you missed, you make up later. Miss 1 day for traveling, for being sick, woman during bleeding, for whatever reason, or even somebody break his fasting in a haram way. He ate.
But what about the reward for the makeup? Is it going to be as good as well as...
If there is a valid excuse, inshallah, the full reward is there. Valid excuse, you're traveling. Valid excuse, somebody who's old. Valid excuse, a woman during the hayd or nifas. This is all valid excuse. You cannot say that when she makes it up later, that her reward will be less. Why? There's no taqsir, there's nothing on her part. But if somebody eats or drinks during Ramadan, there is a hadith, man akala أو شرب وهو صائم. If somebody eats or drink, لا يقضيه صيام الدهر وإن صام. It would not be sufficient to make up for this day, even if he fasts the whole time. He has to make up 1 day, but he missed the reward. You can never get the reward of fasting the day of Ramadan if somebody was mistaken.
Is there an age limit?
Age limit? No, it doesn't go by age, it goes by capability. Maybe somebody who is 20 and they are physically incapable due to physical reason, due to some conditions, incapable. But age limit, no. The limits that the scholars will talk about, al-mashaqqa, there are 3 levels of mashaqqa, of difficulty in general. 1, mashaqqa غير معتبرة. Mashaqqa that's, not considered. Coming to the masjid, it has mashaqqa, it has some kind of difficulty. Having wudu right now with cold water is mashaqqa, it has some kind of difficulty. But all of these mashaqqa, all of this difficulty is not considered in Shara because it's affordable, it's necessary, and what have you. The second level is mashaqqatu muhtamala. It's kind of a little bit excessive or high, but you can take it. You can take, somebody has, let's say, a mild flu. To fast in this case maybe a little difficult. Somebody is fasting with some pain, but he can take this pain. Fine. But when it gets to the third level, mashaqqatun, that would cause unbearable pain, it would cause تؤخر الشفاء تؤخر البرد, it will delay somebody from being cured soon, or it's, it will be not لا تحتمل, يعني somebody cannot take it, cannot bear. This تتعلق بها كل الأعذار. This will make it valid for you to break your fasting, to instead of having, making wudu with a cold, very cold or very hot water, to go to tayammum and so on. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لا يريد الله يجعل عليكم من حرج. Allah does not want to impose or intend to put hardship on you by actions. وكلما ضاق الأمر اتسع. Another rule, maybe we can talk about the قواعد الفقهية. Every time you will have an action that becomes, very difficult for somebody to do it, then you will find Allah is excusing the person, giving you rukhsah, giving you an excuse. So if the only person who can decide is the person himself, somebody who's old. Am I able to take it? But sometimes Muslims, if somebody, subhanAllah, especially for people aged or elderly, been fasting for who knows 70 years, and now it's difficult. It becomes difficult. The person is old, but he doesn't want to break his fasting, and it makes it even difficult on them. لا رخصة من الله, it's رخصة. If you can take it, alhamdulillah, your reward is great. But if it will cause excessive pain, if it will delay the cure or the recovery, then لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها وإن الله يحب أن تؤتى رخصه كما يحب أن تؤتى عزائمه. Allah loves for people to take the excuse or the concessions that He gives, just as He loves to do the wajibat. Last one, inshallah.
What is the limit for how long you can wait before making the niyyah for siyam nafl? Like, can you come before
Good
Maghrib
question.
by like 10 minutes?
Yes,
and you
good
didn't eat the
question.
whole day?
I said that it's good to make intention for nafl the next day, as long as you didn't eat. But can I make intention 1 minute before Fajr, before Maghrib, or there is a limit? في الإمام الشافعي وغيره إلى الزوال, up to midday. Up to midday. Midday is like dhuhr time, all the way until dhuhr time. If you did not eat and you make the intention to start, you're good. Very few scholars said even if you do it after midday, it's still valid. But being safe, or the majority of the scholars believe that if you make the intention until dhuhr, next day until dhuhr time, it's still good. Wallahu a'lam. جزاكم الله خير. صلى الله على محمد.
Recommended before Fajr start. Is recommended before Fajr start.
It's always recommended before Fajr, but for Sawm al-Wajib, it has to be before Fajr. But we're talking about nafil, extra. How far through the day can I make the niyyah? And I just said you can do it up to dhuhr or midday. Allahu a'lam.